There we go. We on screen and we live. Hey everybody, welcome into the Women's Wellness Lounge. I mean the real Women's Wellness Lounge.
Listen,
hello.
We here. It's absolutely beautiful.
You better say so.
It is.
Thank you.
Y'all know it's so common. It's like we want to walk through the door.
It's very welcoming, isn't it?
Yeah.
So my vision has come to pass.
Yeah.
So you guys, how long has it been? Probably 3 or 4 years that I've been in various locations and I was saying, welcome to the Women's Wellness Lounge. Well, guess what? I'm really in the Women's Wellness Lounge, and it is my honor to have Jonika Lynch as one of my very first guests live in the lounge during Women's History Month for the Becoming Her series.
Yes.
And I really selected you for a couple of different reasons. And you laugh because you know.
Yeah. I think for me, just when you had the grand opening, I was like,
yeah,
this is
girl.
This is again talking about Women's History Month. Just watching you for over years is so surreal. But to see your commitment and dedication to your contribution to wellness has just been unmatched. Yeah, and you have been so consistent. So I'm just excited for you. You know, when you asked me to show up, I want to show up.
I know it. Look, on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock, she persevered, pushed her way.
I felt way, came down, listening to my little tunes. I said, I'm going down here. But it's always such a pleasure because we can have sister girl conversation. We can have business conversation. And we can talk about what's next.
Exactly. Unfiltered. Yes, unfiltered. And that's what we're going to bring you guys tonight, truly, is that unfiltered conversation that I really want to have. And I invited you, like I said, for a couple of different reasons. Part of it is, like you said, we can have that sister girl conversation. We can switch in a minute and have the business conversation. We can have the serious conversation. We can have the relationship conversation. Like all of that kind of wrapped into one.
It's so needed. It's just a holistic approach because, this thing called entrepreneurship. As I tell everyone, I said sometimes it'll test your game.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So that's going to have us jump right into what I want to talk to you about. Listen, okay. So, Women's History Month.
Yes.
Miss OLBA. You are one of a 2-woman show.
Absolutely.
With your business cohort, I should call her, Lisa Green.
Yes, my beautiful partner.
That's a match made in heaven.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, you can come in here. She's taking care of business, and I'm pulling up here. We are talking about just collaborating and all the greatness that's going on, and we just spend our time celebrating, and just celebrating the new journeys that we see all these amazing women are stepping into, and really embracing our purpose, our past, because things change, and it just really feels good. I always say it's not perfect, but it's perfectly peaceful to know that you can really just stand in grace and say, you know what, God, I surrender. Yeah. You've been at this a lot.
Oh, yeah. Right? What do you think I did when I came in here? And I was just like, when it finally came to pass. And I'm like you, walking through this door each time, like, I did it. Thank God, I surrendered. But it took a lot of surrendering before I got to this point. So you're seeing it time and time again manifest. We're talking about just me. But with OLBA, you've now got chapters all over the place, and we'll talk about that in a second. But being able to see that and have it manifest, and you've been to, I know already, we're in what, March? You've been to, I know, no less than 7 grand openings since the beginning of the year, right? So this whole feeling that I'm talking about, you get to experience it over and over again, all right? So for the viewers out there who don't know, OLBA stands for Opulent Lady Business Association, and it is a group that I'm a member of. here in Maryland, part of the Baltimore chapter. So I want you to just tell the viewers, what was your vision for OLBA? Because I got it on the ground floor just because I knew it was you.
Yeah.
Also known as the business matchmaker. So we go back more than a decade. So I knew just being a part of something that you created was going to be great. But tell us really kind of where that all came from.
Oh, yeah. So Opulent Lady Business Association was birthed out of Opulent Lady Network. And for years, just being a part of so many different organizations, I learned, as well as my partner, Lisa Green. She was a part of several different organizations. She still is. I am too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
So whether it is the local community advisory board, any kind of organization that's going to uplift and build and get back to the community, we are part of it, right? So over the years, I've been a part of these different associations, and I was like, oh, I've learned from them. And I thought, if we decide to move forward and if I launch a subscription program, what will be the added value of the subscription program? So Outlet Lady Network has been established for well over 15 years. And basically that was just the networking branch of hosting, whether it was a leadership conference, a business function, networking hub, creating a safe space for women in business to come and to meet next level figures like themselves.
Right, okay.
Always in the business of being around thought leaders and individuals who bring that energy to help you level up to the next level. So my partner at the same time, she was running a program for youth called Treasure Jewels in Hartford County. And we came together and said, listen, I am ready to launch this podcast. And the podcast is going to be based off of, again, highlighting female founders, highlighting individuals who greatly contribute to the marketplace. Celebrating, because we know how hard it is. So to me, any little milestone, any celebrating, you have to do that because that is going to keep you empowered to thrive and move forward. And so we talked about the podcast. We actually had taping at my house, at her home. We got together, had a great time, and we talked about the direction of Opulent Lady. As she tells people, I am OL, she is the BA.
Right.
So during this time, she was finishing Yale Business School. And so I was asking a lot of questions in reference to the business side. I'm more of the network, I'm more of then of course I had many of grand openings and grand closings, many of businesses. Absolutely. But I've always been 100% committed to networking. I've always been 100% committed to creating.
So at the core, the networking was
so the connect started. Bring people together so that we can bounce off each other great ideas and then help each other with the next steps to get there.
Right.
So being a part of a resource hub has been important to me because that's just been my school, how I learned. And so we talked about let's just dialogue, what it would look like. And we came up with a plan. And the plan of action is we want to launch a subscription program. And once we launch the subscription program under Opulent Lady Business Association, we will see how this pilot looked for a year. And if the pilot seems to get any type of traction, we will look at the next year, opening up chapters, because our focus was always to be global.
Right.
So although our headquarters is located in Hartford County, Maryland, I always say I'm a little chocolate girl from South Fulton Avenue. I'm a city girl. She's a city girl from New York, right? So we're like, we want to go other places. We want to make sure that women are not just stuck in their zip code and their area code, that they are dismantling that zip code and area code thinking to understand that the world is abundant, that you can meet other people. So let's do this.
How do we do that?
How do we
How
do this?
that?
How do that look?
Yeah.
Oh, it is word, Delana.
It's a lot, right.
It is word.
Yeah. Just listening to you though, but you didn't stop. So although the ideation of what you were looking for started with you, the ability to collaborate right? So that was the underpinning of it. You collaborated with another woman
Mhm.
who had, like you said, the VA to your OL, right? And so together you guys created this amazing community of women. And then from there you said, okay, how can we take this just beyond Harper County, Maryland, and establish it? Because we started here as a pilot and it looks good. It works. So let's see if we can make it branch out and go deep, far, and wide.
Ooh, so the first year, our goal was to onboard 100 members. But it was a joke, right? Let's be honest. Sometimes we say
well, you gotta set that goal, right? So you can like push yourself.
Yeah. As you say to me all the time, Jonika, I always go into everything with the end in mind.
With the end in mind.
And so we were like, amongst our team, we're going to do 100 women, and we reached 100 women, right? So it's like, okay. Again, it's every level,
right?
You have a different level of your own understanding of what you have, what you're capable of doing,
right? And
so you understand the need a little different. So it was, okay, there is a need. There are many of subscription programs out there. There are many of hubs. There are many of women, amazing women groups out there that are helping women step into the best destiny of their self. And we celebrate them all. Right. But we were creating this hub.
So what do you think sets yours apart then?
I think,
because that's different. You
just
said there's a lot of
amazing ones out there that are.
So what do you think sets yours apart?
I think based on the feedback that we have been receiving so far is going beyond the sisterhood, meaning that, of course, we're going to always get back to business, but we have learned to give each other grace.
Okay.
We have learned to understand that everyone comes in with different perspectives, come in from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and we have been able to maintain that overall level of respect, that no matter where this sister come in, if she's ready to get her feet wet, to get on out there and to serve and to add value to the marketplace, then we will embrace her. We will support her. We will not judge her because we live in a no judgment zone, but we will learn how to adjust her crown if needed. So I think that mutual respect, learning how to organically build relationships, and those relationships are built on substance. There's groundwork to building those relationships. Then that's what's attracting women to us. And so
that's what I want to find out. Because there are organizations, like I'm a part of other organizations, and yes, they all have different missions or goals for what they want to deliver to the women that they serve. So it sounds like to me, like for OLBA, part of what you want to do is, again, put women around other thought leaders, push us, right? So that we can say, oh, that's over there can do it, I can do it. What are the resources that they provide to help us with that particular, reaching that particular goal? So that's different, but I think the underpinning thing for OLBA is the sisterhood.
Yeah, and knowing that collaboration is the new currency. See, this thing that they have, and I call it a thing, that they have that is floating around the universe is that women, we can't get along and that we can't collaborate, we can't grow.
Right.
And as you and I talk about all the time, there's boundaries with anything you have to set. There's principles. You do have to have different principles and boundaries to how you operate, whether you are a business owner or not. But what we understand that even with those principles, we're giving each other grace, because my level of standards and how I operate business, you may come from a whole different world.
Right.
So because you come from a different background, your knowledge in terms of business and how you operate business may be totally different and foreign to what I know.
Right.
So what we're not going to do is look at each other and be like, what we're going to do is say, what can we do to help you, or even to understand how you operate business before we go forward, which is so important.
That's very important.
Oh, what I've learned over the years.
So if I'm in a room of, let's say, seasoned business owners, and I'm just coming into that world of entrepreneurship, what you don't want is for a new person to come in and feel like they don't belong. And so because they're talking about different things that you may know nothing about, way over your head, right? just like I always compare this to going into the gym and you look around and you're like, oh my God, everybody's working out, everybody's already doing their thing. Like, I'm going back in the locker room with my coat on and say,
I ain't ready for this workout.
But I feel like when you're in there and you say, okay, I'm gonna start out over here, I'm gonna start on the treadmill, I'm gonna take maybe take a class or just watch and see, kind of what's going on, or sign up for personal training or whatever the case may be, right? So when you start in an organization and everyone's welcomed in as a sister to say, we don't care where you are in business, even if you're just at the thought level. You haven't even started your business, but you're at the thought level. We're able to welcome you in and give you something that will help to get you to the next level and feel welcome, because that is so important.
Well, that's where everything began for me. I didn't come from a community where there are individuals around me had a business background. Okay. Be honest, my background, my community, my family, we learn how to function within all our dysfunctions. It is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's the truth.
Oh, yeah.
So when I began to step outside of my perimeter and be able to go into rooms that was unfamiliar to me, there were women who had embraced me. Now, on the flip side, I talk to women, especially as a business matchmaker and a mentor, one-on-one. I do often hear of the mean girls, or so I'm not naive to that. I know it's out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I also know my purpose and I know my worth. So that changed things for me. And so because I've started out with amazing women that I just met who have said, hey, let me show you how to do this.
Right.
Hey, if you want to be a speaker, let me talk to you
about. I can use my platform, or I can connect you with someone, right?
Yes.
And that allowed you to say, okay, I know how it made me feel.
Yeah.
And I want that woman who doesn't know how to, have the business acumen, or again, who just has a thought, to feel welcome, right? So again, if you're just joining us in the Women's Wellness Lounge, I'm Delana Watkins, the host of the show, and I have with me the amazing Jonika Lynch of the Business Matchmaker and OLBA, and we're talking about becoming her, and that's our series for Women's History Month. And I've just been chatting it up with her. I always forget, like when I'm getting in these deep conversations, that we're even live, right? Like y'all, the audience out there, I'm trying to get my conversation on, get my questions answered. So please, if you have any questions, make sure that you drop them in the chat. I'm checking every once in a while just to see if anyone has any questions for you. But everyone's just loving the conversation so far. And again, our purpose is really just to encourage women, number one, encourage one another. And at the end of the day, we're all here for one main purpose, right? And that is to be fulfilled and to make sure that we're walking in our destiny. And so if it means me getting with a group of women or locking arms, I always like to kind of say that term out, locking arms with some, because I don't know everything. I mean, I'm good in some areas, but I don't know everything. I don't at all. So I get connected with the women that do. And we have had the privilege of just kind of sitting under some amazing women. We have. And before the camera started rolling, we were talking about several of the amazing women and how they were able to add value to our lives. And we were watching them move and soar to the highest heights of their careers. And it is amazing, just to see that. And because of being a witness to what God is doing. I always say, I know that God is in a blessing business, and because I see the blessings, I witness the blessings. And you said, hey, Jonika, it's in March. You've been to a lot of grand openings. I have. But what those grand openings show me is that it can be done, that you can achieve it. And so I tell my clients, and even all the ladies from OLBA, that you're 4 minutes and 59 seconds away. And that is always a reminder for me not to give up, for me to check myself sometimes, right? I'm a woman. And so I can be honest with myself for my mistakes, and I know that I'm learning from my mistakes, but I always go back to giving myself grace. I'm nowhere where I believe God is going
to take me, to deliver me, but I'm so far from where I began. Like I can now go back, even in my book.
Yeah.
I can read the book, my first book that I wrote in 2005, and think to myself, where were you at in your thought process?
Yeah.
Like
a whole different time. Where were you thinking?
Yes, what was
but
you
those
thinking?
are the underpinnings of kind of where you've catapulted yourself to now. And it does do good to kind of go back there. Like I'm big on journaling. I've gotten away from it a little bit, but I'm big on journaling. And even when I look back, I'm like, in my head, I was up to something and I knew, but I couldn't quite formulate what that meant. So it's good to write down what you feel, what you're thinking, what your ideas are, what keeps you up at night, what wakes you up in the morning, what it is that you're passionate about, what cause do you want to disrupt, right? In a good way, right? To disrupt the norm in some area. I wrote all of that down and it led me to where I am today. Not without failing forward, right? Not without, opening another location, kind of closing that. Okay, no, let's pivot over here. This isn't right. This is wrong timing. So there's a lot that goes on with that. So we're not hardly sitting here telling you that this is all, bed of roses. This isn't all puff puff.
You kind of learn how you want to show up in the world, even if you're at the point where you have not arrived at that person, but you're getting there. So you start to, like you said, journal and think of some things that you can do to change.
Yeah.
And then that's when the work come in. That's when you be disciplined in your focus, because at some point you really realize, it's just one. I got this one chance, and you start focusing like you have that one chance. And then
zero in on it a little bit more, and the side noise is kind of out of the way. Even for me to kind of just do this, I had to push a lot of noise to the side and really just kind of like stay focused and get that stinking thinking, as we talk about, out of our head, that stinking thinking. Because all of the things, and we talked about this before the camera came on, about when we could turn around and look back and say, I probably shouldn't have been in that program. I probably shouldn't have spent that money. I probably shouldn't have. But when you don't know, you don't know, right? But all roads back there lead us to where we're going today, right?
I said last night, I still have that residue where I'm praying, right? Because I know exactly like the next step.
Right.
But every step, some people think that it becomes easy. No, it's a challenge for each step, because it stretches you. It makes you become a different person. And every level that you reach, it requires a different level of you and a different level of your understanding. And what I've learned, that just because you're at that level, just because you have arrived at that level, it doesn't mean that the circle around you, even the people in your household, has arrived at this level. So then you have to find, how do you coexist without being disrespectful to the people who's not at that level? Right. Because you never want to get to that point. This is where you humble yourself, right? Absolutely. You never want to get to that point where you start looking at other people left, but then you do realize, like, I am a different
There were my other half out there too. Look, and we talked about that. Look, we talked about how our husbands look, and my husband just showed up outside. How sometimes when you're doing things, Lord, and they understand, but they don't quite understand, right? It's like you arrive, like you say, at a certain space, at a certain place, and he understands that, and he knows it. So like, I'm here late, right?
Protection. He came here and he said, wait a minute, I know she was thinking, I know you did. Right. He made sure
I
said he talked about that.
Or I'll say to him, I'm doing the show tonight and I'm in here, so make sure you understand and know that we're in, that I'm in here doing the show. I had something to do before, I may have something to do after. Your household might not arrive to where you are. You're at a certain place in your life. You don't realize that, okay, I've been running all day, I still have the show, still have something to do after. So your household or your circle of influence also has to understand where you are and how many different phases of you it requires.
How many different phases of you?
Like for you had to leave what you were doing to come here into the lounge to do today's show, right? So you had to leave what you were doing, come here, spend time here with me and then turn around and go back. So it's
And life shows up,
Mhm.
life, as I
Mhm.
say, and it shows up. And so even with that, I'm like, wow, I have to learn balance even. That's why I say to myself, would you ever arrive to the point where you have complete balance? I believe. I believe
Yeah.
that you won't,
No.
right?
I
I
say
believe you learn how
yeah.
to coexist
you go
and manage
yes,
it.
coexist. Now I used to harp on balance. Balance changes every day. So what may look like balance to me 30 days ago certainly is not going to look like balance now because I have this whole commitment that I'm now actually walking in, whereas before it was just a thought or it was just talked about. It was, dripped about or it was coming into existence. Now that it's here, I would normally be home if I wasn't here in this location, right? So there's a different kind of balance.
It's a different type.
Yeah.
And it's
so,
a different type of managing that balance while you're managing your time and then you're managing these different hats.
Yeah.
That's why I'm living today with girl, give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point it was always for me, the greater the greater the sacrifice, the greater the success. And then I realized you keep saying this, but you the sacrifice. You done made yourself the sacrifice.
You made the sacrificial
like,
listen.
God, what are you doing?
No. Yeah.
So I had to really reevaluate my thinking and my thought process. Like, where are you at with this in terms of it? So that's when my why became a little different.
Yeah.
So at one point I'm running like, yes, it's shift. Yeah. And I had to be okay with the shift. So now I have to be okay with, you know what, Jonika? You do have a husband, right? Yeah. And it is okay to understand your husband's feelings. So it does not mean that because your husband is questioning, what are you doing today? That he's not supporting you because see, now you're wrong. He has supported you. Right. He has always supported you. But he has to have a say in this too, even in his own support, because now, and so I had to really think about that, even down to my kids. Yeah. So when my son called me, and I'm in the middle of typing, and so I said, well, you know what? The same attention you give to a woman who called you, one of those female founders who called you, and now you're doing resource, you're taking time out. I call it resource fishing for them. You're listening. That same level of dedication, that same level of compassion, that same level of understanding. And true attention. You can't be, because I have done this before, he'll be sitting there and I'm acting as if I'm listening, but I'm not hearing, right? Or hearing and not listening. Like, so it's the same way you get that phone call from your client or from, another, you're like giving them 100%, don't be half listening and half showing up, right? So the word came to me when you were saying balance. It's harmony. It's harmony and not balance. So harmony and lean into what you're feeling. So that's my new thing. I lean into. If I'm mad, I'm mad. If I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm sad, I'm sad. I am no longer pretending to show up and act as if. And mask it at all. No. If I feel like crying, like right now, I feel like crying, that's what's coming out. Tears. Yeah. I will not show up and act as if. I will not. I don't know if that also comes with wisdom from years of just operating as who you are. Yeah. The world changing, just the climate, everything just starts to shift. Yeah. But I am more because I'll call you in a minute. If something ain't right, I'll even show on my body. Yeah. I'm like, hey, she'll call me. I need you. It's either a phone call or a text. And I'm like, okay, calm down, take it okay, like this is such. But I like that because it tells me that you're in tune and you're not pushing what could potentially be something small, which could be the inkling to something larger, right? We do that a lot as women. We do. So for Women History Month, that is definitely something women listen, turn up the volume of your spirit and turn down the noise that is around. Absolutely. I'm looking at us and we look so good. I'm sorry, y'all. So I'm looking also to make sure I have no comments in here because we're going live from a couple different places. So as whenever I'm talking, it's like, I want to know the whole 30 minutes. I know, but time flies. Okay, so we covered a whole lot though. Yeah.
That's the one thing I enjoy. I never break for commercial break when I got like all this juicy stuff going on. I usually will stop like, all right, time for commercial break. But during this Becoming Her series, I'm not breaking because I want for us to take the entire time to really pour into women that may be out there feeling alone, that may be looking for an organization to tap into to become a part of a sisterhood, to get to their next level. Or maybe they're just still in the thought process and they haven't pulled the trigger to say, this is what I want to do. I want to give them that during the whole entire time. So that's something that we say, maybe just the thing that they're looking for to shift their thought process around that.
Maybe that answer for them.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, everybody's answer for them is
Right,
different.
it's different.
And something may spark a sense of excitement in them or urgency in them to say, you know what, it is definitely time for me to step into the next best destiny of myself. Even if that is tomorrow, I'm going to say, I'm going to get up and I'll start walking.
Right, yep.
Or I'm just going to go online to look at different classes. I want to register to go back to school. And even if I'm not going to register for now, I know I can start looking for the footwork.
You'll put that into your thought process.
Yeah. Because it has to be deposit first for you to begin to take steps on it, to take action. Because a lot of us spend a lot of years in that lane of procrastination. We feel we want to do something and not knowing, oh my God, being a perpetual hustler, not understanding what is it that we really want.
Yeah.
And once you actually honest in on it, it is a different feel.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. Which is why I always say now, what you said, I start with the end in mind. Like, why am I doing it? And then to kind of like work backwards from that. And that has served me well.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I try to say, because with social media and with, all these various formats and platforms, we can get inundated with a lot of information. And so we will get so stuck in our head that we won't even make a move. So I want anyone who's out there listening to us, watching us, to know that they can get connected both virtually or with a chapter that's coming in their area. So please tell them how they can get in contact with you, find out more information about OLBA, to see whether they want to do a virtual chapter.
Yeah.
If there's not a chapter in the state that they live in or city that they live in, tell them a little bit more about how they can get connected with it.
So listen, ladies, we welcome you. We are here for open arms. OLBA is a females founders firm. We take pride in creating safe space for women to come be all that they can be. And we do that in a lot of different ways. One of the ways is we do have a subscription program to get started. It is a yearly subscription program. And your commitment is added value. Our commitment to you is adding value. In order to be a part of Opulent Lady Business Association, you can go to our website, which is www.opulentladyba. So opulentladyba.com. Once you go to the website, that'll give you a chance to just scroll down and read a little bit about our mission and our vision to see if this is a great fit. That is so important, right?
Not just jump on. Get in there, do the homework, find out.
Because if you're going to leverage it, you have to know what you're leveraging, right? Yep. So people say all these fancy words and all of these big things, but it has to work for you because you came in it with the mindset of you want it to work. You came in it with the mindset of you want to connect and start to establish and build relationships with next level thinkers, with thought leaders, with women of production. So
and to also have the resources to So that's all within that.
So we do have several chapters now. We decided in 2023, beginning of the year, we will begin to launch our chapters. So now we do have Harford County chapter, we have Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and the dynamic with Baltimore City, Baltimore County. When we launched Baltimore City, our amazing ambassador, Marnay, she stepped up and said, okay, I'll be Baltimore City. Then we had so many women from Baltimore County, like, what are we going to do?
Right.
And I realized, I said, okay, Baltimore County, we know what it consists of, but if you are a person from Baltimore, you know that there are certain parts of your Baltimore County you think they're in their own world by themselves. So I said, okay, we don't want to say we So we decided to begin to look at what Baltimore County would look like. So right now we're in the process of, Marnie is working with Dr. Stacey Stanley, who is going to co-chair and be I would say she's not only just going to be co-chair, she's going to be the person who spearhead a lot of the things in Baltimore County as the ambassador. We have Philadelphia chapter that launched. We had an amazing time that launched last month. And the ambassador is Aisha Glover, which is amazing. They're going to do a lot in Philadelphia. We have several chapters that are launching. But next week on Saturday, we are meeting at Hyattsville Bus Boys in Portland, where is our meet and greet. We are going to actually be sharing dates that we are launching other chapters, especially DC. So right now we have Nicole, who is in the process of onboarding and being trained to spearhead and become the ambassador of DC chapter. So to find out about the DC chapter, come on out for our meet and greet at the Bus Boys in Portland.
Yeah.
And how
There you go. So all of this
information.
Yeah.
All of this
So
information.
I put it in the comments, opulentpa.com. So make sure you look at the website.
In Delaware, Philly, Chicago, Atlanta. We are dropping so many chapters over the next couple of months. It's amazing. Right now, my calendar is like, whoa. Yeah. God be to glory.
Well, and it's perfect timing because it's about to be spring, so you about to get some frequent flyer miles going. I see what you're doing. Drop the local ones here while it's, during the winter months, and then spring and summer drop all over. So.
And I'm going to add one more thing. We are a global chapter, so we have members that are in many states. Our professional and business development workshops are all virtual.
Right.
So we do have Outlet University. So even for the business owners who don't necessarily, have the time to say, oh, I'm going to, because we have plenty of events. You see how our calendar is. Yeah. They can always go onto what we call Outlet University, which is our school, which is our professional development programs. They can go on there anytime. It's 24-hour access, and they could download and review all of the different trainings that you get. And so we have a lot of those classes. So what people see on the website, like, oh, that's just had. So when you actually go through the calendar is mainly like the social events that is open to the public. But that's just had. Right. So any member at any time can jump in and be a part and be engaged in events that are coming up, which are many that are coming up.
I can honestly say,
we have the mystery bus.
A lot of the events coming up, as well as the workshops and classes that in person and virtual.
Absolutely,
so it's been amazing. As one of the founding members of the Harford County chapter, now again I try to get out to the meet and greets when I can.
And you do
to share. As well.
We know your time. You add a lot of value. You come in with so much wealth of knowledge, and that is the beauty about it. We have seasoned business owners like yourself to beginners, so someone that is new can come in and feel comfortable because they can meet someone like you and say, hey, I aspire to get there, and they can come down here and see the work that you're doing, and it's not like foreign, like you have to go, like they can touch you and say, hey, I know someone, so
that's what I feel like is really an added value. It's like they can get to know, like, and trust you, and that you're really someone that they can put their hand on and say, okay, take me by the hand and show me, right? Or this is where I am in my thought, to kind of continue to inspire and motivate them to stay committed to their goal.
You are a huge inspiration. Like I have to keep saying this to you, and I know that you say it, but you have contributed greatly to the health and wellness field. And so to have you here in downtown Baltimore at this time, especially coming off the brink of the pandemic, and people are more open to be educated on health and wellness. This is a great time to be here. So God knew what he was doing.
He did, and I'm still in awe. Even myself, I'm like, I'm here. Like, you speak out. So he did. And again, a testimony to say, stay committed.
Stay committed.
Stay committed.
It's going to happen.
Stay committed.
Now, you might end up having to water your own soil with your own sweat and tears, as you say. There's going to be some sleepless nights, some nights where you question yourself, but you're only 4 minutes and 59 seconds
4
away.
minutes at
Don't you dare give up.
4 minutes and 59.
If I would have listened to that second voice, many of times, I'm like, not today.
Yeah.
But I had to get up and just say, you know what? There's people assigned to you.
Oh.
You are assigned to you. And you have what it takes. And if you don't have what it takes, you're very resourceful. Go out and get connected. Go out and get connected.
Yes, go out and get connected. So listen, I put it in the comments. Opulent BA. OLBA stands for Opulent Lady Business Association. To get more information, to learn about them, Miss Jonika Haynes Lynch, as well as Mahisa Green. She's always on social media. I thought that I post a lot. She is on here all day. Bless up. And then from there, she goes in. Very resourceful, gives you a ton of inspiration and information. So I want to thank you guys for joining us for the Becoming Her series with Jonika Haynes Lynch, the business matchmaker. We will be back here again next Wednesday with another guest, Jonika Edmonds, and she's going to share some information with us about her personal journey and her ability to persevere and develop into this successful entrepreneur. And then her goal as she continues to work, as we all do, to see what's next. So don't forget to join me back here again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate you, and thank you so much again, Jonika, for joining me.
Women's History Month.
Yes, Women's History Month. And this is where we're like making history. That's what I should have started off saying, that yes, we're like making history. Yeah. Each day, even y'all making history with that whole OLPA. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time.